Welcome to this week's Texas Border Watch. I'm Jordan Elder. Since June of 2023, the floating barrier in the Rio Grande has been a big part of Texas's border security mission. It's a big orange reminder to migrants, the rest of the country, and the rest of the world that Texas is taking immigration seriously. But now, the buoys that have been floating in the Rio Grande could eventually change hands. In a meeting with the agency's oversight committee, Texas Department of Public Safety Director Freeman Martin said the federal government is soon going to take over the buoys.
In a conversation with the federal government just in the last couple of days, they love the idea and they're going to make a large investment and take over the buoy barrier operations in Texas, which is going to be a huge benefit to us.
There's about 2,000 feet of buoys in the water right now, and Texas actually doubled this amount last month. This takeover doesn't come as a huge surprise, though. The buoy program was actually developed and tested by Border Patrol under the first Trump administration. We were the first to show you these photos of that testing process in February of 2024. From June 1st to June 4th, 2020, Border Patrol set up a testing scenario for different types of barriers, along with Cochrane US, who manufactures the buoys. Redacted photos from those trials show several different types of buoys lined up in a pool. But those buoys never rolled out. The administration changed and contracts hadn't been written yet. Texas moved forward with that research and carried out their own buoy operation. Now, we don't know what the federal government's investment will look like quite yet, or if they could potentially expand the buoy program. We talked to Governor Abbott's office about this. He has been a huge proponent of the buoys over the last 2 years. He says this is all because they are partners now with the Trump administration. His office said that they tried to partner with President Biden and his administration using the buoys, but that didn't work out. So he says he is welcoming this move by the federal government. It's still unclear, though, how much Texas could potentially be reimbursed as for that large investment that the DPS director mentioned. Texas Agriculture Commissioner Sid Miller is sounding the alarm about cartel violence near the border and the impact that it could have on farmers and ranchers. We know a few weeks ago, a rancher from South Texas was in Mexico and ended up being killed by an IED, or an improvised explosive device. Sid Miller says that should serve as a warning to all of the farmers and ranchers in South Texas. It's important to note, though, no one has been hurt on the Texas side of the border as of right now. Here's a piece of our conversation with Commissioner Miller.
The cartel they're hurting financially. They're cash cow. The immigrants that they're smuggling across, they're no longer getting that $10,000 a head. They're not able to get their drugs across. They're not able to get their MS-13 gang members or all their other paraphernalia that they smuggle across. So they're trying to carve out a turf, and they're sending a very stark message. Don't come in. This is our turf. Don't come out here. We don't care if you're the ranch owner. If you come out here, we'll kill you. So this is actually the second IED. There was another first IED with the south of Alamo, Texas, down on the Rio Grande. This particular one killed the ranch owner, one of his friends, and maimed his wife. So there's 3 casualties in this one. So that is why I put out the all alert to all the farmers and ranchers up and down the Rio Grande Valley, anywhere along the Rio Grande River. Be on top alert. Try not to go out after night. Make sure you don't drive on any dirt roads unless you absolutely have to. When you're in your pasture land, look for things unusual that have never been there before, and use extreme caution. So hopefully we can get this under control. I know Pete Hegseth is determined to use whatever means necessary to stop this. The only thing these people understand is strength and violence, and so that's how we're going to have to fight 'em. The one in South Alamo was within a few hundred yards of Texas sovereign soil. So we don't want to start over here, and I promise you the cartels don't want to start over here either, because they will see the wrath of the United States military. I would advise people, unless you have business there and you have to go to Mexico, especially in the border towns, don't do it. I'm going to advise against it. I'm not letting any of my family go down there, not till we eliminate and eradicate these cartel members. And that's what we're going to have to do to stop the violence.
Texas has already declared cartels as terrorist organizations. The federal government did that recently as well. How does that impact how this could play out moving forward now that cartels have that designation?
Well, it gives us a lot more freedom to fight back, to use brute force, use whatever force we need. We can use armed drones now. We can use the force of the military. We can engage the Texas Department of Public Safety can engage now, along with the game wardens, Texas Rangers. It's a force multiplier. The more agencies we have in, the stronger we are.
What resources are available to farmers and ranchers in that area, especially as we head into spring and they have more to do out on their land?
Well, they're just going to have to use common sense. If it doesn't feel right, don't do it. Don't go out on your place alone. They'll steal your truck, maybe kill you. Don't take young members of your family with them. They'll be tempted to be kidnapped. Take another able-bodied person with you so they can guard the truck when you get out to open and close gates. That's when they really like to steal those trucks. Is when you're not in it with the keys in it still running. So just use some good cowboy logic, good common sense, and be careful.
Tamaulipas is right across the border from Brownsville, Texas, and last month their government put out this notice saying if you are in the city and you see anything on the ground that you don't recognize, don't touch it, don't move it, do not engage, leave it alone because it could potentially be an IED. The U.S. Embassy also issued a severe travel advisory at the end of January for people traveling to the border because of things like IEDs, kidnapping, and other cartel violence. Mexican military members have been hurt and killed by IEDs on the Mexican side of the border, but again, Texas agents or troops have not been hurt at this time on the Texas side of the border. We're used to hearing stories of people caught smuggling migrants or drugs across the southern border. But what about eggs? CBP reports that over the last fiscal year, we have seen a nationwide increase of about 30% of agents having to stop these for coming across the border. Now, I want to show you some pictures of some recent busts. We have cartons full of eggs lined up here. These photos are from CBP. You can see them still in the cartons in this photo, and then lined up almost to the bar that goes around this room. This is a lot of money in eggs right here. Now, CBP in El Paso have stopped at least 90 people from smuggling agricultural products since January, and that includes eggs. And that resulted in almost $4,000 worth of fines. And the risk here, just like in the United States, is bird flu. It's something they don't want spreading in between the United States and Mexico. So if you're bringing over agricultural products, you have to declare that when you cross the border. Raw eggs, also imported from Mexico, have a higher risk of having Newcastle disease, and that causes neurologic, respiratory, and gastrointestinal issues. It's fatal in birds, and according to UC Davis, it's one of the most serious diseases of chickens worldwide. And if you thought this was crazy, listen to this. The San Diego field office has seen a 158% increase in egg interceptions since the start of fiscal year 2024. So this is an issue not expected to die down anytime soon. That's all for this week's Texas Border Watch. I'm Jordan Eller.